I'm starting the recording here. So today we are going to discuss about the HANA security part, right? So we have three-level security, three-layer security we have in the system. In every company, we have the security features. Why we need security means we everybody knows, right? So nowadays we all are using the HANA DB HANA one system user we are using, right? Nowadays we all are using the HANA system administrator. We are using HANA system. So system administrator we are using. Let me close here. Okay, we are using the system user. We everyone connecting. It's either me or you. All are connecting the system user. But what if someone deleted something or someone did something? How can I point? Who can I point it here? We need individual user IDs, right? So without individual user IDs, so how can I do that one? Right? It's a very important point. So security is the very important to protect the system from unauthorized access. To protect the system from the unauthorized access, we need a security, right? So in SAP, normally we have the three-level security we have, right? So we have the presentation layer. SAP is the three-tier architecture that everybody knows. If you ask me, so my daughter also will tell the same, right? So three-level security. So this is a presentation layer, application layer, and DB layer. So presentation layer means which we have individual user IDs to log into the systems, and we are doing here. And also one more level security. After that, you are launching the SAP screen. In the SAP screen also you have the user ID and password, right? So this is the one more security. So then if we want to do some activities in the database level by individually connecting, so here also we have the user ID and password mechanisms are available. So these are the security features. Suppose someone is providing the one product and delivering, you are releasing the one product into the market, definitely you need to think not only futures, the security perspective also you need to think it out. Otherwise, what happens? Unauthorized users, they will access your systems, they will theft the data, organizational data, financial data, HR data, customer data, vendor data, whatever it may be. Entire data they will theft, right? So to avoid this one, we have the security concepts are available. In SAP level, we discussed already how the security, how can we configure the roles, how to mitigate and everything. So in HANA also, we have the security features are enabled, right? So security features are enabled. So what are those security features here? So what are those security features here we have in the HANA systems? So normally now we know, if I ask you, so why security is important for the, especially for the database? Why database? Why? Because all the data residing into the here only. If you don't protect, you are only protecting the SAP system means that is fine. But if you are not protecting the database means it's a very important to protecting the database also. Why? Because unauthorized persons, they will log in, all the data resides here, they will just save, copy, some we know how the hackers will do, right? Everybody knows, right? So now, so this will happen. To avoid this type of issues, so we have the security mechanism and security user ID concepts in the HANA database as well, right? So what are those security management here? What are the security features SAP? So and also to meet the security standards, security adaptation by the company, we need to follow the security standards more. So what are the security features which HANA is providing to us, right? So SAP is providing to us, right? So HANA providing the, so these are the security features to us. So like user and role management, user and role management, user and role management. And one more thing is the authorizations to the objects and everything. Then the third one is the authentication. Then fourth one is called the, we have the encryption. So encryption of data folder, data folder slash and data, right? So that is also we can do the encryption. Why? Because as data saves data, so data saving into the ANA folder, right? Slash and data, that is the encryption. That is also we can do the encryption. Then step number 5, encryption of the data in the network layer also. We can also we can data in the persistency layer, right? So here encryption of the data in the network side also we can do the encryption, right? Network side also, so we can do the encryption of data in network layer. So all the layers, either the networking side, either SAP side, DB side, right? In each side we need the networking. We have to provide the encryption. Our connections also, when you are connecting to the any one of the side, so few connections are encrypted, right? With HTTPS, it's a more securable feature network side, right? Through certificate based, the connection is secure, and through certificate based, you are authenticating to the SAP systems or some other Google. So any good, if you nowadays if you use any site, those are the encrypted, right? You can encrypt means in every site in the starting you can see the lock symbol. Lock symbol means the connection is secure. So which means so it's encrypted, and in the network layer also it's encrypted. Same way in HANA also we have the network side encryption layer, encryption of the data in the network layer also we have the, so these features are enabled in the systems, right? So now let's talk about one by one. Now let's talk about the one by one about, let's talk about the one by one about the each and every feature, right? So this is the stage, so that we are going to discuss about the each and everything, users, roles, authorization, encryption, all these things, right? So now let's start now about the user and role management, right? User and role management. So what is this about the user and role management, right? So the user and role management. So SAP user means we have the users, right? So users and role management we have. So let's suppose example. So if you want to log into the HANA system, definitely you need one user ID, right? One user ID and one password you required, right? HANA side, you need one user ID and password. You are connecting to the HANA, you need user ID and password. Same as like to access the database, we have, so users has to create in the security for, so users has to be create. Here in SAP side, we have the two types of users. One is the technical users. Same SAP side, how many types of users are there? SAP side. So yes, right. So same as like here also we have the technical user and so database user, which is called the real user. So or database user. So database user, real user, database user. So technical user or DBA, database administrator. We are the database administrators. So these are the types of users are there here. Types of users are there here in the systems, right? One is the technical user. So technical user means who directly we will log into the HANA database with respect to authorization. Then we will work on the systems. So we will work on the systems. We can create the other users also, and also all the administration activities, all these things we can provide it. So which means we are the system users. So suppose example, our system user, right? System user is the so technical user. So suppose example, now you all are able to connect to the HANA system. See, right? HANA system with the system user. Now you are using the all the tabs, wider access you have, right? You are the administrator. You are the database administrator. Whatever you want, you can do that one on the database side. Suppose one more user. Suppose one more user you have. That is called the so real user. Real users. So real user who wants to work in the HANA database need a database user and some real person who wants to work. They are the types of real users, standard users. And suppose this is also same to technical user, but we can restrict the access. We can restrict the access. Suppose in the there are the two types in the real users also. There are the two types of users in the real users. Technical user is the only one, either the system user, right? System user is the technical user. So in the real users we have standard user, right? Standard user, and so B is called the one more user is called the so restricted user. So restricted. So we can restrict the some access to the this user, right? Restricted user. So what is mean by so standard user? Standard user means standard authorizations. Standard user means, so he can create the objects, own schemas, reads the data, all these things, public access. He will get the public. So public means, one statement public means he can access, he can read the data from any ways, any system use. He can create the user also, he can create the other users also. That is the standard users, right? In the restricted user, restricted means this user has no full access to the system. He can only just view the some of the statements, some of the things he can view it. That is called the restricted users. We can restricting users. So restricted users cannot create database objects. He cannot do anything here. Just he can view the data. Even he cannot delete anything. He cannot view the data. He cannot create the data. So maybe he cannot log into the system also sometimes, maybe due to the access issues. So these are the, so some, these are called the restricted users. We can create it. So technical user, system user, sys repo, these are the technical users. So in the system by default, some users are created, sys system, right? And also sys repo. So these all are the users. These all are the, so database administrator users, right? If you just right click and create the new user, so we can create it. While creating the new user, you can see here, you want to create the new user or you want to create the restricted user. So which means you want to create the new user means, so he can do anything in the system. Same as like in the DBA person, he can do anything in the systems, right? So restricted means he has no access, only dedicated privileges, only he cannot access everything in the database level. Those are the, so those are the, so users types. So standard and restricted users. So then how to create the users there? So then go ahead and here just click on the create button. You will get the new user screen here. Maybe just you can create the, maybe so Ravi user I'm creating here. Then just you can enter the initial passwords and you can change that one. So while creating the users, we have to fill this one. So we discussed, right? So we have the users creations and everything. Password, forced to change the password next login means you want to reset the password. You can reset the password also. So just you can create that one. Now user is created. See here, just I created the user and just I created the user is created. Now I can log in with my user, log in with the different user to the HANA database. So not only system user, I am a standard user. I'm logging with my user. Then I'm resetting the password also. I'm resetting the password also. Okay. I'm resetting the password. Okay. The password is changed. Then see here, I connected instead of system user, I connected with my user, right? In the my user, let me try to access something like here, right? So suppose, see here, you cannot open the administrator area. You don't have the required privileges to access. Just I created the access, but nothing is assigned to my user. Maybe you want to open the console, nothing is hidden. Here anything, everything is hidden. Everything is hidden here, right? You want to access anything, all these things are added, so hidden here, right? So you want to open the SQL console, so you can open the SQL console, but you cannot execute anything here, right? So here it's restricted. You cannot open the administrator editor even. You don't have the required privileges. You don't have anything here, right? This is the user. Maybe you can create the some user and you can do that one. These are the standard users. Standard users, you can create it without assigning any privileges. Any privileges you don't require to assign the any privileges to the user. So right, these are the database users. Database level, we are creating the some standard users and restricted users here. So in here, we can create the user, we can delete the user, we can define the role, we can grant the role, we can reset the passwords. So all these things we can see in the systems. All these things we can see in the systems here, right? So these are about the user creations, user creation. So these are about the user creation in the systems. So we can create the user, we can just confirm the password. Maybe these roles are there. These are the roles are there. This I will discuss with you now. Authentication based, right? How to assign the privileges now, right? So the first part, user creations and role management. So that roles also we can create it. So like In the users, we have the two types of users, technical users and real users. In the technical user is the DBA person, system user. In the real user, so we have standard user and a restricted user. So we can restrict these functionalities and everything. So by logging to the technical user, we can create the other users, either the standard or restricted, we can segregate it. The so roles and everything we can segregate it, right? Those are the things. The next one is the authentication. You are given the role user created, but what about the authentication? So SAP HANA authentication methods. So HANA authentication methods. Authentication method means, so who is accessing the database level, you have the authentication is required here. What level of authentication SAP is providing here? What level of authentication SAP is providing? Is it user ID password based authentication, or so SAML2, SSO, or logon ticket, or 509 certificates, Kerberos? So what is that? So everything it is providing. So based on that, these are the authentication methods SAP is providing to the users. So not only user ID password, you can also configure the SSO single sign-on without logging to the, without entering the password. You will directly log into the systems. For that one, we have to configure the, so single sign-on, we have to configure the, here SAP side we have to configure it. Maybe logon ticket based, certificate based authentications we can log in, right? So number of authentication methods are available here, right? So Kerberos method, right? So directly they can use from the JDBC, ODBC clients, HTTP access side. User ID password, normally now we are using user ID password is required everywhere. So SAML means, so who is accessing the HANA database query? So maybe they can use the without SSO, without entering the user ID password. So we can use the SAML based method. When logon ticket and SRN ticket is for the, so maybe ticket based authentication, then certificate based authentication. So these are the authentications are available here. Authentication methods are available here. Then what next? So these are the authentication method. Suppose you want to validity from today to tomorrow, then you can create the, so maybe this user is only should be valid from today to tomorrow. Then you can provide the validity end date. Then click on the next button. Then the user has only validity end date. So why? Because the validity end date, the user has only validity end date here, right? That way we can create the users here, right? So what about the, privileges? What about the privileges? Authorization. So this is the authentication. User ID and role creation we discussed. Authentication, just only normally, basically every organization there is a security guys. Security guys will take care of the all this security part, SAP level security, HANA level security. But from our side, we want to discuss the security thing also, right? One topic. So we are discussing that the security things also we are discussing here. So it's not like that 100% you need to remember the all these security things and everything. If you remember, you are good, well enough, right? So next one is the SAP HANA authorization. So authentication methods we have either the user ID password based authentication mechanism, or SAML2 configurations, SSO configurations, then certificate based and X.509 certification and logon ticket certificate based authentication, Kerberos based authentication. With which authentication you want to use it, so you can use it for that. But regularly, so HANA, right? Normally only we have, and only technical team has access for this one. So that's why we have the user ID password based authentication. We will do this user ID password based authentication, right? While logging the HANA database, we need user ID and the passwords. We are using it here, right? The next one is the authorization, right? Authorization. So this authorization is required to the use. So this authorization you just created, you authenticated, user is created and authenticated. But what about the password assign, passwords, authorizations to the authorization? What level of authorizations you required? So those things are we required, right? So depending upon the authorization provided to the user, he can perform the certain operations on the database level. So subject respect to table, he can use it, right? Certain table is use it. So this authorization is called the privileges. Authorization called the privileges, which means which privilege we want to assign to the user, either the create, grant, read, what privileges. Once you assign this one, when the user try to access the any HANA database objects in the system, he will perform only that related activities he can perform it, right? So let's see some HANA privileges we can discuss, some privileges. These all are the privileges here, right? So this is the system privileges, right? What does it mean by system privileges? System privileges means normally when the creating the databases, deleting the databases, managing the users. So all related database licensing, applying, auditing, versions, imports, export, delivery units, imports, normal. If you assign the system privileges, you can control the systems. Suppose if you just go out and click on the plus symbol here, you will see the, so you are creating the user like he is the backup administrator, backup admin, auditors, or whatever is the person. By default here we have the already trace, is the tracer, is the trust admin, is the user management admin. So what is the person? So maybe you can click that person respective one, click on the save button, right? The user has been saved, means we assigned the system privilege like user underscore admin, some privileges we have assigned to the user, so that this privileges only the user related. User admin means usually user related activities he can perform it. User related activities he can perform in the systems. User related activities he can perform in the systems. Okay. So same as like same here, right? So user admin, if you assign the system privileges, it controls the normal system privileges like creations. Some example like creating the database, deleting the database. So maybe managing the databases, managing the other users. So all these things you can perform it, right? That is the system privileges. Object privileges. Object means specific database tables. Object privilege means, so yeah, it is giving to the authorization to the SQL. So means object, the specific objects, whether tables, suppose like specific table, you want to give access to the specific schema, specific table, then you want to give the access to the specific table, then you can assign to the schema, respective schema you can assign it. So maybe in that one you want to create any, or you want to alter, you want whatever you want, we can do that one here. We can create that one here. You want to alter, then you can just create the alter button. So just select it, then maybe you can create the alter, whatever it may be, then you can create it. Then you have assigned the sys underscore repo, that authorization you have assigned to the user. There is a system object privileges. Object means specific to the only one object. Specific to the only one object you are giving the access, not for the all the objects. Only one objects you are giving the access. Specific objects only you are providing to the users. Specific objects. Object means table. System privilege means, so either you can assign this one or this one or this one or this one, anything you can assign it to. System privilege means he is the system administrator. You want to access to the catalog read. So you want to access to the some remote data sources. You want to need. So you can assign the all these things to the users, right? You want to, the person you are creating is only belongs to the database user. You want to access to the particular table only. In that case, particular table means it's object. So then come to the object privilege, then you can assign here, come to the object privilege, you can assign these objects, right? That is the object privileges. So analytical privileges. Analytical privileges means analytical privileges are used in the some access the data, some model view, analytical views, calculation views. There are some analytical views in the systems, right? So normally our developers, they will create the, here they will create the some access, some content, some repository, they will create it. If they want to access to this one, you can assign the, go to the analytical privileges. Here you can assign the some analytical, some privileges, some packages you can assign to the that particular user, you can assign to them. So which means analytical privileges means in the catalog you will create the some, in the catalog you will create the some these things, right? Click on new package, under the package. So under the package you will create the, so under the package you will create the some calculation views, some package view, attribute view, calculation views, procedures and decision tables, everything, right? These are the developers, they will perform all these activities in the system. Developers, developers, they do the activities in the system, so they will use this one. So who wants this level access, the package level access, then we can assign that related row, that it has privileges to the users. Respective privileges to the users, we can provide it. So by default here we will get the list of packages here, we can assign to them, so objects also we have the by default. If you see by default list of all the tables will come, so means table owner will come. Under this we can assign the respective field to the user, right? That is the object privilege, analytical privileges, that is the thing. So package privileges are used, to provide the authorizations to the individual packages. In the system we will create the some packages, so we will give the access to the packages also, we can create it. We means our developers, they will create the packages in the systems. In the system, developers, they will create the some packages in the system, so that we can assign that packages to the user. We can assign that packages to the, so we can some particular user we can assign to them. Those are the package. If you want to provide the package access to the user, then you can go to the package, then click on the add button, then you will see the list of packages, then that package you can assign to the user, right? So same as like this one also, right? So next one is the application privileges. Application privileges are granted, and so it's kind of application related application privileges, which means so only some grant privileges, revoke the privileges, taking the permission back to the user. So this time we will use this application privileges. So it's not much useful, all only system privileges and object privileges are very important. Remaining all are not that much of important here, right? Privilege on the users. So maybe user has own user. Some users directly we can attach to the here, some debugging the systems, something that time he required some general permissions. Which user? System user. Now we have attached the debugger to the system user, so that he will perform the other activities in the systems. These are called the authorizations and privileges. Authorizations and authentication methods and user ID and password creation, right? So then how to define the role, then role creation steps, that is the last step. So before we go for the role defining step, so any questions, any confusion from anyone?
Sir, here what is ODBC and JDBC, and can you show completely how to configure SAML?
SAML configuration is not possible here. Okay, why? Because here we need the authentication methods, some identity provider, Azure or that required here. We don't have any Azure or AWS or any AD, that identity provider XML file we required here. So, and also we don't have any other users also to configure here. Okay, if you have any other identity provider, let me know, we can configure here. So just for giving the overview on the security side. So here we cannot directly configure anything here. We can configure, the way we can configure is either if you want to enable user ID password based authentication method, you can enable it here. No, you don't want the user ID password, you want to enable the SAML configuration. Then in the AD, we have the identity providers. Identity providers means who is providing the access. Suppose like we have the number of identity providers in the market, right? Azure AD. Then we have the Okta. Then SAML 2. So many are there. SAP users can access. So many identity providers are there. So this identity providers means who are the organizational users. Suppose like you are the one of the organizational user, you have the user ID, password, and email ID. So same with once you log into the authorization, once you log into the my system, my domain network, then automatically you can access the SAP. Automatically you can access the SAP also, and also automatically you can access the HANA administration also. Why? Because you are the organizational member. Then how to configure that one? So that each identity provider, there is a metadata to download it. There is a one XML file. If you log into the either the Azure or somewhere you will get the one identity provider you will get. Suppose like, so Azure AD identity provider XML file generation. So then you will get the, so how to generate the XML file. We have to generate the XML file for the single sign-on Azure AD. Then from there metadata we will get. So we will get the some metadata here. Metadata we will get. So here they will go to the Azure portal, Azure directory, enterprise application. They will go to the here. Then they will download the one XML file, one file they will download it. So then that file we have to download and we have to come to the HANA system level. Then we have to add to the here, so that who are the organizational account users, they can log into the our system without entering the passwords, user ID passwords and everything. See here, upload metadata here. So these things we have to provide in our systems. So these steps are there, but steps are clear, we can perform it. The only thing is we don't have the any Azure IDs authentication and everything.
Okay.
That's why we are
So
using
then
the
what is meant by ODBC and JDBC?
JDBC, ODBC are the authentication protocols, like not protocols. So some users, some systems, they will connect to the, they will not, some users, they will not use the HANA Studio, right? They will use the some other tools, and through JDBC, ODBC, they will connect to the our systems through JDBC, ODBC. JDBC means Java, Java, Java database, something is there, ODBC, JDBC. Through that protocols, through the protocols they will connect to the, so through that protocol they will connect to the our systems through JDBC, ODBC users. So they will not using the, so yeah, Java database connectivity and open database connectivity, whatever is connectivity. These are the, so communication methods they will use it. So they will use it and they will connect to the our systems. ODBC, JDBC are the, suppose it's like SQL based authentication, some APIs. So they will configure these things. So that from there also they can connect it. It's not like that all of the users should connect to the HANA Studio and use it. So it's like, so few users we can backend, we can directly connect to the, through JDBC or ODBC protocols, we can use it, we can connect to the HANA database also. That's why, so we can use this one. So suppose this user is not related to the JDBC, ODBC, then you can disable this access. So that if you are using in the connection, suppose you are using the RFC destination, in the RFC destination, if you are using the user ID password, then this Ravi user is not valid. Why? Because you have disabled the JDBC, ODBC access. It's methods only, JDBC, ODBC.
Then here how to lock and unlock the users?
Yeah, I will show you. I will show you. We have a still topics are there. So in case user is locked, so which means it's a deactivate the user. User is locked means it's a deactivated. User is deactivated, explicitly deactivated, right? Is the deactivated. So if you want to unlock it, just click on the, here there is a, so arrow symbol. So just click on the arrow, is activated. You want to reset the password, you can enter the password, you can reset it out. If you want to delete the user, suppose you want to delete the user, then so go to the here users, what are the users are there, you will get the list. Right click and you can delete the user. You can delete the user. So like that you can delete it. Now user is deleted, right? So like that you can create the user. Maybe we can create the user also. So same, like how can we create it? We can create the user. Suppose like, so Ravi one I'm creating. So then again I'm setting the password. Why? Because we don't have other authentication to practice it. So that's why user ID password based authentication I am using. If you want to provide the any validity from Monday to, you can provide it validity from today or tomorrow, you can provide the validity. So is valid only till tomorrow, right? So what are the methods, what are the privileges you want to give? You want to give only specific table, then go to the object, the specific object, you can provide it. You want to give the system privileges, system means there are a lot of things are there, automatically the roles are created here, right? By default you will get the roles, you can assign these roles. No, you don't want to assign these roles, you want to create the new roles. Then you can go to the users, in the roles tab, here you have the all the roles are available. So he is the monitoring person. Suppose he is the monitoring person. Then you can assign the monitoring role to the user, monitoring person. You want to do the monitoring only. So then you can assign the monitoring only, so that you will perform only monitoring related activities in the systems, only monitoring related activities, which means you can log into the database. So now you can open it, but you cannot do any changes in the systems. You can open it, you can see, you can go, but you cannot do anything in the systems. So that is the thing, monitoring, monitor admin. So if you assign the some other roles also, you can access it, some catalog. So we discussed up to the creation of the user, right? Creation of the user, one more user role creation. So what I did is I created the one role, one custom role I created here. For that custom role, I assigned only the monitoring privileges I have assigned. So means the role we are assigning to the particular user, he can only perform the monitoring related activities. Because he is the fresher role I created, he can perform the monitoring admin. Suppose if I go to the now, I opened the Ravi user, then I assigned the this one. Now, if you want to go to the here, so you can only do the monitoring. So you cannot view the alerts also. You can only do the changes here. You cannot do any changes in the system. Suppose you want to change the parameter, so there is no option to change the parameter also. There is no option to change the parameters here. Everything is hidden, right? You want to go to the system information. You want to do the diagnosis files. There is no option to delete the trace file also, right? Trace configuration. So trace files also, you are not the trace files also, nothing is there here. Then system information. Suppose you want to do anything here. So here you can execute it, but you cannot do any changes in the system. Why? Because there is only only monitoring related role is assigned to the my user. So that I can only perform the monitoring related activities. I can perform it in the systems. So this is the way we can create the role. We can assign, we can create the, so users also, we can create the role users also, we can create it. By default, we have the roles are created. If you want to use, we can use it. But some companies, some organization people, they don't want to use the standard one. They want to create the custom one. That's why they will create the custom role. Suppose like Z underscore basis, suppose like I'm creating the one more role here, like basis underscore seniors. Then in this case, senior what we required, so content admin, right? Seniors what we required, all, like all monitoring, he will perform the monitoring, he will perform the content. So whatever your internal, they will detect it. All these things we can assign to the users. All this, what are the system privileges he required, so he is required the all backup, catalog, everything is required, right? So is everything required. So everything is required for the seniors. So then I assigned everything here. Then save it.
Hi, now one thing.
Yes.
This is also standard roles, it is not a customized.
Yeah, it's a custom only. So custom role, we are copying the standard roles here. Just the standard roles we are copying. See here, custom roles only. Custom directly we are not assigning the custom role to the user. We are creating the one custom role. We are creating the one custom role. In this custom role, so we are assigning the privileges. What privileges, what you want to. You don't want to assign these also. Then as I told you, right? You don't want to assign this also. Then in this case, so your team, your developers, they will develop in the content tab, they will develop some packages, some attributes, some packages, some analytical procedures, they will develop it. So they have to develop the things here. They have to develop the things here. Then based on that, you can, that package you can assign to the here. That package you can assign to the here, analytical privileges or package privileges or application privileges, whatever you want to access, he has to develop here. Here we have not developed anything. So we are reusing the same roles with the custom just role created, and we are just doing the same roles we have assigned to the users. So which means directly we are not assigning the standard roles to the user. Indirectly we are assigning the standard roles to the So user.
The standard means DB providing the standard roles.
Yeah, in the database is providing. In the database level, whenever you do the database installation, you see here automatically we have the multiple roles are there. So database already knows. Like that's why it's created the multiple roles it's created. So we can use these roles directly. We can use this. There is no harm. We can use it. But some customers, some organization, they don't want to use this custom roles. They don't want to use this one. They want to use some custom roles. In that case, we have to ask that security guys to create some privileges, packages, some different naming conventions, so that we can create the roles like this. While creating these roles, we can assign these roles, privileges, object privileges, we can assign to the users.
One more thing, and when creating the user to give them a date, validity date is a mandatory, sir.
No, it's not mandatory. We can remove the user. If you don't give, the user is valid until database expires, until end of the world. Whenever you have the name, you can expire it, you can give it, you can remove it. But you are creating the user, but he has to only access to the until end of the today. Then you can provide it. Maybe next to 1 hour, maybe next to 2 minutes, it should be valid only next to 2 minutes. Then you can provide the date and you can assign them. If you provide this one, is adding only 1 minute is valid. You don't want to valid. So after 1 minute, what will happen? The user will be locked here. User will be locked. Maybe if you observe it for some time, the user is locked here. He cannot log in after 1 minute. Until till of this date, he cannot log into the system. It's not mandatory. Yes.
So can we manually log the user?
Yeah, manually you have the option, right? See here, deactivate the user.
And is there option is multiple user can log at one time in here?
Here there is no option multiple users locking one time in the database level. SAP level we have SU01, SU10, but here we don't have anything here. Here nothing is there to lock it. So any other questions? It's not much important, but here since we are discussing, right, that is one. See here, it is inactivated. See here now, outside validity period is over. It's inactivated now. Right, just you need to increase the validity period, then again he is valid person. Okay, now when you activate it, just okay button, so then he is activated again up to 5 minutes, next 5 minutes. Some users they required only specific level, right, only 2 days, 3 days that time. So 2 days, 3 days we can assign it. Even though if we miss it out to deactivate it after 2 days, system will decide and system will deactivate that one. That is the person validity and date. So if you want to any client also, we can assign it. It's not mandatory. All these things are not mandatory. I can choose anything. Any one of the thing is the mandatory here. These are we can assign the standard one. You want only specific table. You want to only particular functionality. Then we can assign them.
Hi, Nag.
Roles we assigned.
Sorry.
Can we delete the roles we assigned to particular user?
Yeah, you have option, right? See here, adding is there, same way here deletion is there. Then you can delete it. Multiple roles you can delete it. Yes, we can delete. Only thing is multiple users we cannot create it. Maybe through SQL commands we can create it, but here, so other way we can create it, but here standard procedure we cannot create it. Yes, Chandra.
Can you please add multi-tenant DBs?
Add, right? So it's a very let me show you here. You clear, right, this part? So don't need to much concentrate on this topic. just to understand how to create the users, how to create the roles. That's it, right? That's it, very important. If you want to create the one more database, just go to the SQL console. So then you can just click on this and execute the create database. Which database you want to create? S4H, suppose example. Create database name. So user, system, password, then password, you can create it, right? Just statement you can use it, you can create it, right? So this is the way. System, user, password, yeah, incorrect syntax, maybe double quotes. Yeah. Create database name, not there is a statement. Very simple database. This is a user creation, multiple users creation. That is fine. Not the user, right? How to create the tenant DB. There is a video they have generated, but not like that. Yeah, then the SCP console command is there. Yeah, create database name. So this much is not required. This much of not required. Then even every yeah. Here example we got it. See here, create database name, system user, password. Okay, we should not give the quotation. That's it. So just enter it. So that will create it here. Then correct. There is a query. Let me give that query. Yes, this is the one. Same only, but it's wrongly mentioned, I guess. Here. Here it is executing. Now means one database is getting created here. That is called the DB0. So here you can see the one more index server here, which means one more tenant will be created. One more tenant will be created here. DB0 database will be created. Once this is completed, so you can see this is creating now.
And this is only way you can create. No?
Yes, you can see one more index server is created with 40 series, with 40 instance number. Then you can go ahead and so SAP Linux one. So 40 tenant. It starts with the 40. That is called the DB0, right? DB0 system password manager one, I guess.
Yes. M capital, I think.
So, yeah. Manager one we create. Yeah. So it should be complete. Statement is still executing. Like that, we can create a number of databases up to 19. We can create it. The default one. Default one, system DB and tenant DB, both SIDs are same. So after that, when you are creating the new one, so that is the different one. So see here, index server is created, which means one more tenant. Each tenant there is a one separate index server, right? Here index server is created. So 3 instance number 40. This is the 40. So this is not completed. Create database, zero system user. You will see the query is executing. Just one single query, we can create the database. If you just make it hundreds of queries, then execute it, multiple databases will be created here.
Sir, you told HANA database, HANA cockpit is down, you have to reinstall it.
Why we have to reinstall it? That's not required, right?
Then how can we add the system in HANA cockpit and practice? Sir?
What you want to uninstall it?
I want to add system to the HANA cockpit for practice purpose.
Okay, you want HANA cockpit should be installed, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will do that one. So I will install, I will let you know, then you can add it. Multiple databases you can add it. Okay, I will do that one, not worry. I will initiate now. In the next it's complete. See here, the statement is successfully executed in the 3 minutes 28 milliseconds. It's completed. So database is created here, right? Database is created. So now we can add the database here. Go ahead and choose it. So 40 tenant. So DB0. So system. This one. Cannot access the host SAP Linux 1.
Sir, instance number, sir. Instance number 41.
Yeah, instance number I'm checking. Yeah, 30. Sorry, 03. Our instance number is 03, right? Sorry. Wrongly given the instance number 03. There is a port name 03, right? Yes, you can see DB0 is added here. One more tenant is created. One more tenant I created here. So this is the way. So we can create the one more tenant. We can create it. So system DB we can create it. Tenant system DB is only one. Only tenant we have to create it. That we have to create from the system DB only. So not from the others. Only system DB we can create it. So this is the command. Just you can change the SID and passwords. You can change it, depends upon your password, so that it will create the one more database will be created here. This is the way. Okay.
Sir, that instance number is get from that HDB database, that system database, or it get another new.
The system database. It's from the system database. Whatever the instance number we have for the system DB, same instance number for the all the tenant databases.
Yeah.
Okay.
In system DB, can you please right click it?
Okay.
Here, configure monitoring. Open SAP HANA cockpit is there. How it will?
Okay, this is
connect.
duplicate. It's not there as it won't connect it. It will clearly say like, see here. Previously in 1.0 it is exist, but now it's not exist. See here, they will clearly tell you the features, right? See here. HANA cockpit delivered with the HANA 1.0 has been replaced. ఇది లేదు అంటే ఏంటంటే so which means